I must say a big thank you to all those people who are sending me video comments, emails and the like about the videos I've been producing. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I do a lot of work on parliamentary petitions. The great way to let the government know what you're thinking and to get the message across. On top of that, I'm a personal trainer. I also teach self-defense. I'm making this video because I've just had a client cancel in the last few minutes. It was for medical reasons, and he won't be charged. I'm a bit lenient like that. Other personal trainers would charge, but that's a different story altogether. Now, earlier this week, I got an email from the Parliamentary Petitions Committee in response to two petitions outside. One to carry non-lethal weapons to avoid attack, and the other one about domestic abuse. Now, in response, earlier this week, the government announced a new strategy for tackling violence against women and girls. Yesterday, I spent quite a significant part of the day watching the proceedings in Parliament, a 20-minute video, and I got the transcript, and I welcome one bit where it says, if we are to make real and lasting progress, this is clearly not a task that the government can take on alone. We need everyone in our society to play a part in fighting these crimes. Today, I'm going to detail 5 ways you can things you can do to reduce your risk of assault, and I'm going to detail the types of abuse that there are that women face. The kind of abuse that women face, which I detailed today, are actually faced by men as well. And let me adjust my camera. Okay, so let me talk about the types of abuse, and then I'm using my props. I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do to reduce your risk of assault. Firstly, the types of abuse. Firstly, there's online. So people can face online abuse, whether you're male or female, and it can vary in all sorts of horrible things. So keep an eye on this. If you have children, please keep an eye on their social media. Okay. Next one is physical abuse, which is the most well documented. There's the internet is full of videos of violence against women being the commonest form of domestic violence. It can be. Then there's emotional abuse. Now this basically means where you could actually have a toxic partner being very toxic towards another. In the school setting, it could be name calling or things such as that. So keep an eye on your kids. In many cases, the abuser is not aware of what they're doing. That does happen. Then in the domestic setting, there's neglect. The abusing partner neglects their responsibilities towards the other, and it can cut both ways. Then there's sexual, and in this case, what actually happens is, and there's some overlap with sexual and online, where basically one partner gets the other to do things they don't want to do, or the other thing here is this what's called revenge porn. Basically, someone finishes with one, and they get intimate photographs, and they spread them online. It's highly illegal, and it will land you in trouble, so don't do it. And obviously, don't let your partner take intimate photographs, whatever you do. The other thing I was going to mention about this is I sometimes do security at what I call adult clubs. And when women come in, I always ask them, can you just come in a second? I just want to review your membership. And I always ask them, are you comfortable with this? And if that lady says no, or I get a slight inkling, I say, I don't believe you. And I get that lady to a place of safety. It doesn't. It happens more often than you might think, actually. And we don't want that sort of thing to happen. Then there's what I call the 7 Fs. Okay. Firstly, what I call financial terrorism, where basically one abuser says to the victim, "Go on, leave me. But how will you pay the bills?" The best example you'll see if you look at Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty McFly comes back to the new 1985, only to find that Biff has married his mother, Lorraine McFly, and basically a huge kerfuffle is created between Lorraine McFly and Biff. And what actually happens in the end is Biff says, go on, leave me, but I'll cut all the money off to you and your children, and I put them through college or whatever. And she's got no choice. This is why I encourage all my students and all of you out there to get on 3 to 5 streams of income, so you are never at the abuser's financial mercy or never at your employer's mercy. All employees and everyone needs to be on 3 to 5 streams of income to make sure that you don't suffer this kind of abuse. The next one is what I call unfaithfulness, where one partner is unfaithful to the other. It can cause terrible effects. Okay. Then there's the next step, what I call forced arranged marriage. It does occur predominantly in Asian and Jewish communities. It's very, very common. Although in the what I call the Bible Belt in America, it does occur there. Then there's basically forced career, where two parents can put intolerable pressure on the youngster to study, to follow a career path they may not want to, or go to a university course they don't want to. I'm a former junior doctor, and I have actually seen 8 suicides due to parents forcing their children to study medicine against their will. And it's horrible. And the problem doesn't seem to be going away. And unfortunately, forcing your children into a career path they don't want to is not illegal at the moment. I have set up a parliamentary petition on that. The next one I'd like to talk to you about is, what do you call it? Female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation is barbaric in every sense of the word. There's no religious requirement, and I'm pleased that we've got the first conviction for it. It's very difficult to get any form of conviction for a female genital mutilation. The next one is what I call forced culture, okay, where basically parents from first generation parents from any country outside England force their culture onto the second generation, and that child is split between 2 cultures. It causes all sorts of problems, and it's very stressful for the youngster. This is one reason among many why I wouldn't go out with an Indian girl. My parents have tried me repeatedly to get me into an arranged marriage with an Indian lady, and for that reason I'm not going to do that. I had enough of it as a kid. I'm not doing it anymore. The next one is what I call forced clothing, where basically parents from another country force their culture or clothing onto the youngster. I won't mention the name of the garment involved, but unfortunately it does occur. I remember when I was a youngster, my parents said to me, "Oh, you are the son of a doctor, you must wear this clothing, you've got to be smart." It causes all sorts of problems. The next one is forced language, where basically the parents from another country force their children to learn their home language rather than English. This causes all sorts of problems because, one, the youngster when going to school may not have as good an understanding of English as the other kids and can be bullied as a result, or has a disadvantage. I do know of cases in some cases where parents refuse to let their children speak English at home. That's not a good thing to do, and this really should be outlawed. It's a form of child abuse to my mind. Next one is forced religion, where basically parents from a certain background may force their children to follow a religion that they don't want to. And I don't need to tell you more about that one. Next one's called forced sexuality, where basically children who may be lesbian, gay, bisexual or transgender may actually be forced to marry someone they don't want to avoid dishonouring the family. I am very aware among some of my students who may not be heterosexual, but are forced to marry people they don't want to for that reason, and it can cause all sorts of things. The worst case I know of was a young lady who knew from the age of 13 that she was into girls, not men, and very sadly, on her parents finding out, they forced her to marry a man who was 25 years older than her, and she kept it a secret for 35 years. Just think what that poor woman went through. Okay. Luckily now she's now divorced from that man. He still is a very misogynistic man. He's now under a court order. He's under a restraining order. He can't go anywhere near his ex-wife. The next one, what I call is I talked about forced arranged marriage. There's also forced relationships where parents may actually force their children to go out with someone they don't want to. Now I'm going to talk about the types of 5 things you can do to avoid assault on the street. They're not comprehensive, but they will go some way. Nothing is guaranteed in self-defense, it just gives you a better chance. When you go out on the street, try and stick to public places. If you stick to public places, an assailant is less likely to try something on with you. Next thing is, if you go out at night, wear a head torch. You will be amazed if you wear a head torch how people move away from you. On top of that, if you go down a dark alley, you can see where you're going. And if you catch the eye of someone who's about to assault you, you think, hang on, I've been seen here, I'm not going to do something. That's one thing to do. Now, the other thing you can do today for free, which won't do any put you in danger, is basically always walk opposing the traffic. In the UK, we drive on the left, okay? Now, there have been incidents where people have had, someone's been wearing a handbag, and basically someone in a moped has come along and nabbed it. If you're walking opposing the traffic, they can't do that. Incidentally, if you are wearing a handbag, don't put it on your shoulder like this. Put it over your neck, or better still, like that. It's very, very difficult to nick a handbag like that, or that, okay? One over two. The next prop, I haven't got one, is a penny whistle. If anything ever happens, blow a whistle. You know, basically, no assailant wants to be heard. And if you blow a whistle, people around will see. The other one I recommend, although you can look a little bit silly, it's a great form of exercise in Nordic walking poles. You walk with ski poles like this. One, it's a great form of exercise, but secondly, people move away from you. It's like you've got a force field of about 2 foot around you. It's actually incredible. So you might want to invest in those. I'd also advise, if you can afford it, a body cam. You carry a little body cam on your shoulder, keep it visible. People are less likely to do anything because they realise it's going to be recorded. And they're not going to try extortion or robbing you because they realise they're being recorded. It's a great method of protecting yourself against assault. How that technology was around when I was a kid. The other thing I'll recommend, a non-lethal, it's a legal thing you can buy today. It costs you about £5, and it's legal and you can't get arrested for it. There's been a lot of talk about knife crime. Now, you carry a knife, you will lose your life in 2 ways. One, get into an attack, you will get cut. But secondly, you get caught with a knife, you could end up in jail. It's as simple as that. Even if you don't do anything with it, you can end up in jail. It won't do you any good whatsoever. However, you've got a 3-foot umbrella. This is legal. No one's going to arrest you for having an umbrella. Well, you come at me with a knife, and I can parry you off. My arm is about what? A foot long? This is about 3 foot long. You come up with a knife, you're not getting anywhere near me. I can do the Luke Skywalker thing. You're not getting anywhere near me. If I've got a penny whistle, I can blow the whistle to attract attention. Of course, it makes good sense that if someone comes up with a knife, if you can, turn round and run away. Don't get involved in an attack with a fight with someone with a knife, because you will get cut. I don't want to see anyone playing the hero. The things you see on movies are highly choreographed. Okay, they look very impressive, but they're highly choreographed. The stupidest thing I ever heard of was in a women's self-defense class when I was a student, where they taught, grab the blade. I thought, what? Grab the blade and yank it off them? Come on, you're going to cut your hands by doing that. That's just stupid. Okay, if there's a knife attack, if you can, just turn around and run. If you have to, use your umbrella, parry them off, and blow a whistle, attract attention. I would welcome your comments on this. I will be making submissions to the House of Commons Select Committee as a strategy for violence against women and girls. But in the meantime, I would welcome your comments, and please share this so your friends see it. Thank you very much for your time. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.